Hi folks, we're back again.
Smell the popcorn, that's good.
So I asked Dwayne a question.
He asked me a bunch of questions.
We made notes. Are we better off now than we were on January 20th, 2021, the day that President Biden was inaugurated?
Are we better off?
Yes.
We're better and worse. I think we're a little stabler. Of course, inflation's hitting us, and then no president can be blamed for something like inflation. He doesn't have the power to do it. It's a series of things that happen one way or another, and usually goes back 4 or 5 years. The seeds were already planted and they're growing. But are we better off? No. Are we worse off? Probably not. We see it different. We approach it different, and the media is different. You got to be careful with the media. Is so powerful in this country. They can make us believe anything one way or another. You only have to read the Globe and just see how they spin things. I don't know. I don't see myself any better, and I don't see myself any worse. I see myself a little better in that, being that I have a little more confidence in Social Security right now. Not much. Medicare, the programs that we're going to need as seniors. I was afraid that if we continued with Trump path, there's a Trumpies out there that wanted to get rid of it.
Well, he wanted to change it.
Yeah, well,
I don't want to see that happen.
But are we better off or are we worse off? Well, I don't know. I think we're pretty good overall. That's the only way I can see it. I don't actually see anything really.
Well, we've lost our energy independence. It's been destroyed.
It's been put on hold. Our energy is still there.
We could not get our country independent within 5 years if we turned a switch.
No, well, we couldn't do it.
He stopped the XL pipeline.
That was still 4 or 5 years from completion anyway.
Yes, it was. But we would have been a couple of years away now.
Yeah, we haven't made any progress on it. That's right. But
inflation is running rampant, and crime is running rampant.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, see,
when I talk to guys and they say to me, "Damn it, I got to go to Boston tomorrow," I say, "Oh yeah." But he says the 38 will be in my pocket. Mm-hmm. I know more people that are packing now.
See, I'm only wondering, is it due to the president? I don't think the crime is directly related to the president any more than a lot of other things are. I think that the people that we elect on a local basis influence that big time.
Yeah, the Democratic Party is the far left. But I will argue with you about inflation. No, his fingerprints are all over inflation.
They were because of the COVID funds that were sent out.
Spending bills.
Spending bills. Some of the spending bills were needed. Some were not so needed. The COVID funds. Now, I would be much more agreeable to the people that say he sent these checks out and he ruined our economy if by the millions they said, "I don't want this, take it back, put it back in the treasury because it's inflationary." How many do you think did that?
Well, I wouldn't send it back because the only reason is they wouldn't put it in the treasury.
Well, you can request it to go directly in the treasury.
They won't do it.
Well, but nobody made the effort. Nobody would even make to do it.
Well,
but everybody took it and everybody cashed it and everybody complains now that it's inflationary.
I think it's unrealistic to expect people
of course it is, but it's also unrealistic to take it and then complain about it. We had a situation here in the legislature, and we had, what we got, 20 Republicans or something in the state?
Yeah.
Some crazy thing like that. They voted themselves a pay raise. Now, every Republican says, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
But every one of them took it. And
Gotta
everybody
do
can
it.
just cash it and say, I didn't vote for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're a hypocrite. You should have said, no, I will not accept the pay raise.
You know what?
you believed it.
If that were the case, I just wouldn't have voted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they all voted no, and then they sit back and
Yeah,
took
they
it.
weren't be able to put it on their
Well, of course
campaign flyer.
Precisely.
I opposed,
But I don't know.
well, the couple of other things that makes me feel we're a lot worse off is the Afghanistan debacle. I mean, that was like kicking our foreign policy right in the belly.
That's right. When Trump gave a set date that we were going to be out of that country by that date, that was a kiss of death. I said, you do not do that.
That was, I'll tell you what, I blame Biden, but boy, I give half the credit or half the blame to President Bush. Trump.
Trump. Because he's the one that set the date. We were going to be out of there by May 15th,
He's
period.
the one
Guaranteed.
that was negotiating with them.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell? If we're going to pull out, we don't negotiate.
You don't announce it either.
Or announce it. I mean, ridiculous.
There's a saying in the Mideast, you may have a watch, I have the time.
Yeah. Russia invades Ukraine. We play defense. That doesn't make things any better as far as I'm concerned. China starts acting badly, U.S. ignores it. The baby formula crisis, supply chain problems that Biden can't understand. I don't understand what this is.
But he doesn't have a real thumb on the real problems, and I don't think we haven't had a president that's a president for
Since Ronald Reagan.
probably since Ronald Reagan.
Yeah. I liked George H.W. Bush.
I did too.
Very intelligent guy.
He was very capable.
Yes. And I liked W.
Yeah.
I thought he was a good guy.
They didn't have the press.
Yeah, that's right. And they made fun of him from day one.
That's right.
President goes into hiding in Delaware at his home and refuses to talk to anyone. Shows no leadership skills. We don't know who his advisors are or who's pulling his strings. That's not a good feeling.
No.
And then the ultimate embarrassment. He goes hat in hand and on bended knee to Saudi Arabia and begs the Saudis
That made no sense at
to
all.
pump more oil. And they recently announced their decision. They're cutting production 10%.
Yeah.
So they are just thumbing their nose at them.
Yeah. Well, the whole world is doing
Um,
that strategic was a strategic error there in the first place. I do believe that if anybody had a magic crystal ball, they would not have taken the energy approach that we took. And I know why Biden did it, because to appease the progressives.
oh, he did. He's owned by them.
Yeah, and I think today he would not have done it. He would not have, if he could have seen what was coming.
He still would have done it because he wants to get reelected. With him, in reading the book about the laptop of Hunter's, one of the things that comes across in some of the conversations is that Joe Biden is in love with power.
Oh, I don't think we've ever had a president that wasn't.
Yeah. Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, maybe Jimmy Carter.
Yeah. And he was the most ineffective president.
Also one of the smartest ones we've ever had.
Yeah. You know what? And so all of these things talk me off. But probably the biggest problem I have with President Biden, and I've tried to cut him some slack, and I find it harder and harder to do.
Oh, I do too. I think that I hate to say it, but he's too damned old for the job.
He is.
And
Time
it's like
has
you or
passed
me,
him by.
you and me try to sit in a position like that. We couldn't do it.
No.
We can barely remember what we had for breakfast.
Listen, I've lost a lot off my fastball,
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
So
But he doesn't. He's content to go through the motions.
yeah.
Um,
You
but
think you
Yeah.
what do you give me your prediction? What's the percentage that he will either be around for re-election or able for re-election? Or he won't have a mental
I
breakdown, or else
he's fairly healthy,
yeah.
so I think he'll probably be around. But I think he will be pushed right off to one side by the Democratic Party.
I think so too.
I think they'll sit down with him and say, "You've had your fun in the sun,
Yeah.
but you really, you're not clicking on
it's
all
necessary. I think it's going to be necessary.
yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the interesting thing: who the hell do they pick?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's well, I don't think we know a whole lot of the inner
because
workings.
We don't know what's going on.
We don't know what's going
No.
on.
All I know is I hope it's Gavin Newsom because, boy, I tell you what, he is a clown. Final point about Biden. The thing that bothers me the most is his visceral hatred of Donald Trump. It's on full display all the time. He really is quite a model for the youth of America. And how do you like being called a semi-fascist?
He did pick some bad fights, but go back to, I think a lot of this started in was it the last debate when Trump was out of control? When Biden had to say, could you stop him? I think Wallace was the moderator. And Trump was just calling names and throwing crap. I mean, he showed a side of him that I said, this guy is not presidential at all. This is like some high school kid up there. But I think that's where that visceral relationship came from.
He's president. He should take some advice from Queen Elizabeth on how to deal with
exactly.
people. He's a servant for us, and he's not. He's a figurehead in hiding.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so you tend to be more in tune with the national scene.
bombastic.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
bombastic. But I tend to get more riled up and pissed off at the local scene. I mean, the things in the paper, and they're doing this and they're doing that, and so obviously they're screwing us over sometimes so bad, but nobody seems to see it, or they interpret things.
You know what?
This last election, for Christ's sake, I never saw such poor choices in my life. Now this won't work, but first of all, I'm not a big fan of ranked voting.
Oh, that's stupid.
God almighty, I hate that. Yeah, but if you got ranked voting, I want one other thing on that election. None of the above. And if none of the above wins, none of them win.
Yeah.
You go back. The present guy that's got the job keeps it for another 3 months or 4 months, and you go back and redo that election without these guys that are on it. They can't even be on the damn thing because you already voted them out. None of the above. But they're not going to do that.
They're not.
No.
And this Attorney General.
Oh my God. Which one?
The lady that ran
Riordan?
that spent $9.3 million of her own money.
Riordan.
Yes,
yeah,
Riordan.
R-I-O-D.
Yes.
Yeah, was a defense attorney.
Yeah.
Sleazy.
She was she chased the big lawsuits, the class action
suits, yeah.
And if she hit one, she got buried with money.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But can you imagine the vanity of that woman? She must have an opinion of herself that's bigger than the state of Arizona.
I don't know how she can walk in a room.
Yeah.
The ego just is pushed out so far.
And I was so happy to see her defeated. Not that the other one is in
And she
great
got
shape.
all the
She is-
endorsements. Today the Globe's got a big front page article about Wu, Elizabeth Warren, a couple of the other people, all the big names that endorsed. A lot of them got beat.
Arroyo.
Arroyo, another
Yep.
one, yeah. Oh, him. He's got to be the stupidest guy in the world.
Yeah.
Here's a guy that got himself in hot water where he didn't have to get himself in hot water. They picked it up first, the media, and then they switched gears. But I said, wait a minute. Arroyo is not in trouble because he's guilty of something. He's guilty because he lied. When you apply to law school, one of the questions asked is, have you, not, of course, you ever been convicted of a crime, have you ever been accused? Have you ever been investigated? Have you ever been a suspect? Any of those things. You got to say yes or no on them things. You can't say no and then say, well, I was never convicted. But that wasn't the question.
Yeah, that's right.
The question was, are you honest enough to say, yes, I was? It's like, they even want, have you been arrested for speeding? Meaning you get a speeding ticket. Yes. But it'll come out, that's nothing. It just gets thrown away. But if you lie on it, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And that's his problem, is he kept saying, no, no, no. Well, there's a police report. There's reports from the school. There's, not that he's guilty of anything. He's guilty of the fact that he lied on his application.
There's a paper trail there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just plain stupidity. We used to get this same thing when I ran investigations and intelligence. They would tell these kids when they're filling out their form, don't lie. If it's something, if you got caught underage drinking with a party, don't worry, put it down. Because it's not going to mean anything.
Yeah.
But if you don't put it down, the investigators like us, we're going to find it. Mm-hmm. And when we find it, you're going to be disqualified.
Yeah.
So,
It was so dumb. Now, however, how did those papers, that information, get released?
oh God, no.
Was there a leak at the Boston Police Department, or was it in the Attorney General's office?
It could today.
Or the
Everybody's looking
district
for
attorney's office.
just DA.
Yeah.
Today, everybody's a leaker.
Yeah. But
you
I think
can't-
that, to me, that's more of an issue than him saying, oh, rats, yeah. You know what? I was investigated. I didn't even think of it.
Yeah.
I didn't read the question that way or something. But let's roll it out and talk about it. If he had taken that approach.
Even then, instead of denying it, even after they showed him the reports, oh no, I don't remember anything like that. Oh no.
And then he
Man,
had to have it stuffed in his face before he finally.
Yeah, you keep digging when you're in the hole already. Don't keep digging it deeper.
Yeah, but you know what? It bugs me the hell out of me is he's running for DA. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the DA's office may well have leaked that information.
Very possible.
I mean, so the whole damn situation is corrupt.
Well,
Of course, this is Massachusetts.
that's just what I was
part
gonna,
of the course.
just what I was going to say.
Yeah. So this brings up a bigger question, I think, in my mind, Dwayne. Whatever happened to the old guideline that a man was innocent until proven guilty?
That went out the window with the Me Too generation, Me Too movement.
Really?
Yep.
So, as long as you're accused of something, you have to wear the scarlet letter?
I think so. On certain things.
But what bothers me is...
Just look at what's happened. The Duke lacrosse team
Yeah.
got accused of raping a prostitute or whatever it was. They got expelled. The team got disbanded. Lawsuits flew all over the place. Nobody believed these kids. Then to find out she was lying. But he was guilty. They were guilty right off the bat. That's the Me Too
You're
movement.
going to wear that stain the rest of
Oh,
his
absolutely,
life. Oh,
yeah.
you were on the team, yeah. And by the way, there's another guideline, too. Since we've decided that a man doesn't have to be proven innocent before he's proven guilty. And that is that a woman must always be believed.
Me Too movement.
That's it again, huh?
That's where it started.
Uh,
It's not right.
It's not right.
No, it's absolutely not right. And I do not like that a paper, somebody gets accused, particularly, these are all sexual things, or most of them are.
Right.
I don't care which paper you get, the Globe, Herald, anybody. They lay it out there. When you read it, you think, that guy must have done something.
Yeah.
But when he didn't, he's ruined. His reputation's ruined. His job, he's probably lost his job by now. He got to move away. He lost his wife, left him. God knows what happens. They don't go back. The media doesn't say, well, that thing we printed, that wasn't right.
Yeah, because they're opening themselves up for a lawsuit.
Yeah, well, that's they don't want. It's not news anymore now. And the thing that really kind of bites my butt is that a newspaper, I always said, if you were published this about John Doe, suppose this was, what's the publisher, John Henry?
John Henry.
Suppose it was John Henry's son got accused, not convicted anything. Do you think the Globe would have that in the paper?
We both know the answer to that.
That wouldn't get in the paper.
Nope, it wouldn't.
Years ago, there was an article about a couple, a young man and a young woman. They were in Aruba, and they were having illicit, not even illicit, but adult activity on the patio. And they got so engaged that one of them fell over the side of the patio and was killed. Well, the paper just had articles about this. And that's when I said to Monica, do you suppose if this was one of the editor's kids, this would have even made the paper? Mm-mm.
Yeah. Guess again.
Guess again.
Yeah.
It would not have.
It's amazing. Well, I think that's a story for another day. I'll hold off on that one. I got another subject. Bringing back manufacturing to the U.S.
Oh, I did good. Yeah, I got something on that too.
What do you think of that?
Oh, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I've always been.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't understand why the hell there's no man's T-shirt made in this country.
Who gave it away, manufacturing?
You want to know when they started? McKinley, 1889,
Really?
1898. That's when this started. And it's been going on since.
Well, I think it got quite a boost by the liberal community, because they said, we have to get the poor countries that are suffering around the world, we've got to give them the ability to manufacture so they can stand on their own 2 feet.
That's the thing with Mexico. That's it. Some of it work. Now here you're going to find this. I was surprised as hell. I went online to some different sources. The president brought back the most jobs. Who do you think?
Trump. No?
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton. Yeah.
Bill Clinton, 18.6. Trump bought 6 million back. So.
Well, I tell you, Clinton certainly had his behavioral problems. But
that's putting it very, very generously.
But a lot of times his head was in the right place.
Yeah.
On economic issues.
Yeah, he was not. He was not a dummy.
No,
by any means. He just couldn't keep it in his pants.
Well, and he also had Hillary.
Yeah, well.
So I'm not sure she was a plus.
No.
But Clinton was a smart guy.
Yep.
So.
But McKinley, that was part of his program. In that, of course, it wasn't China; it was England.
Mm-hmm.
That for years that we didn't have, we raised cotton, but we didn't have the cotton gins or the mills to produce the cloth. And then we did. Then everything started going over there, And he said, no, we got to bring that back. We're going to lose the ability to manufacture. And then that grew into it. Well, I was surprised that even in 1889 or 1898, they had a problem with steel, iron. I thought that was but we were losing production already then. Because McKinley was from Niles, Ohio, right there in the steel belt. He was very conscious of that. Oh, I'm almost done with your book, too.
Oh.
But I can tell you, just ignore the first.
It's been a grind, huh?
Oh, my God. Ignore the first 100 pages. Okay. Just skim them.
So this is kind of connected in a way. Cleveland quarterback Deshaun Watson will serve an 11-game unpaid suspension, pay a $5 million fine, and undergo professional evaluation and treatment. I can really see that happening. Following his settlement of the accusations of sexual misconduct with 24 women.
And $5 million fine. Oh, please,
$5 million
please don't fine me $5 million. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I only make, what, 40, 50 million a year?
Yeah, I'm the highest paid quarterback ever. You know, he's stupid.
No kidding.
But you know who's even more stupid? Is Jimmy and Dee Haslam, the owners of the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, my God. They just...
giving him a contract like that, knowing the baggage that he was carrying.
Well, you thought they would have learned their lesson with Mizell.
Oh, yes.
I mean, what a poster child for...
I forgot all about him.
He was a poster child for not to sign a character like that.
Underperformance.
Yeah.
Ay. But how? All right. Supposing I was accused of molesting 24 women, all right?
Well, I would have been proud of you.
Do you think I'd...
At your age, I'd have been damn proud of you.
Do you think I would skate the way he skated?
God, no.
I would be in Norfolk prison.
Yep.
I'd be sentenced to 240 years, 10 years for each account.
If Goodell had any sense of decency or righteousness or fairness, that guy would never touch a football again in this country.
Absolutely right. But when Roger Goodell opens his eyes in the morning, the first and only thing he sees is dollar bill signs. He is totally money driven. Now, how about the Buffalo Bills cutting punter Matt Araiza 2 days after he was alleged in a lawsuit to have participated in a gang rape of a teenager last year.
They're not waiting around.
Alleged.
That's what I mean.
In a lawsuit.
That's right.
Not a criminal affair. Nope. A lawsuit to have participated. And the Bills, stand-up people that they are, I'm going to back you, kid. I'm sure that this is a bunch of baloney or whatever. Nope. The girl has spoken, and that's it. You're dead.
See, now that we can go back to innocent until proven guilty, or we can do what we want to do in sports, and that's clean the damn things up, because you're dealing with kids and you're dealing with different things. So it's a fine line there. If you bring, I shouldn't say shame, if you bring anything to that team, you shouldn't be there. If you can't live your life that you can be above all that stuff, you're maybe in the wrong business.
You're giving a gift.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, and you're tarnishing that gift by your behavior. But like Tyreek Hill, there's not a faster receiver in the National Football League.
That's right.
And he's also learned to run routes. I mean, he is a one-man wrecking machine. And yet, his personal life, he may be the worst person in the world. Beating his kids, beating his wife, all that stuff. I mean, and what do? They give him a big contract.
Yeah. Well, even go back to, I know around here he's a saint, but the owner of the Patriots, Bob Kraft, goes to Florida, doesn't even deny it, does it twice, gets caught, and then tries to fight it, or does fight it, millions and millions of dollars worth of
and successfully
and
wins.
successful.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, well, come on, folks. Where the hell you got any sense of decency
It
here?
was a victimless crime, though.
Yeah, well,
I,
I think if you leave the door unlocked at night, half of them women that are in there will escape.
I don't know.
But, or our illustrious Hall of Fame baseball player,
Which one?
Big Papi.
Well,
Nothing wrong there.
no, nothing at all.
Oh, God, he's ready to be sainted.
It was at I think, I'm not sure. I think he was at a baseball card show. And they said, if you hadn't been a baseball player, what would you have been? And he said, surrounded by kids. I'd like to be a porn star and just make love to beautiful women all day. Now, that was reported once in the papers
Yeah, never again.
and never has
Never
been
again.
seen or heard from again.
Yeah. There is some writers in Globe Sports that have kind of got on this, that he's not what he seems.
That's right. And this whole cover-up down in the Dominican
Republic.
when he gets shot down there.
Yeah, that's just absolutely absurd.
Gee, there's probably only about 80 people that
I
know
see
the
he's
real
one of the
reason.
invited speakers for something called Boston something. They've got some illustrious individuals that are going to speak and motivate. Now, what in the hell makes a man who's got the ability to pick up a stick and hit a ball, makes him so smart that they would put him on that panel to speak?
I know it. It is pathetic, the way we worship these guys. Place them on pedestals.
Yep.
As though they were superhuman.
Or you take an actor or actress.
Yeah. What's the main talent of an actor? To be able to recite his lines?
Pretend.
Yeah. Pretend. That's exactly right.
That's what it is.
Yeah. I'm telling you. I gave you an article
Yeah, you did.
to look at. How much time do we have left here? We got a ways to go yet. I do want to touch on Queen Elizabeth II.
Okay, yeah.
also.
So she's,
But this article I found to be very interesting.
yeah, I think it's related to a lot of different things.
And it is about how women and men view sex differently. Would that be roughly?
Oh, positively.
And I was,
Oh, here it is.
the woman that did this article put a lot of thought into this. And it was in the Wall Street Journal. And basically, it traces, I suppose I'm going to offend everybody in the world now, but
Probably not me.
no, you're the only one that counts. But it traces the fact that, let's go back to the 40s and the 50s. A woman, a girl, was expected to live a chaste, or is that chaste?
Chaste's good enough.
Chaste lifestyle, and save herself for marriage and for her husband, so that wearing white was
At least give the impression
yes,
or the
exactly.
that it was. 'Cause
That's right.
there was pregnancies before marriage then too, and plenty of them. But
Nothing notorious.
that's right.
Yeah. And then we evolved into woman's revolution.
Yep.
And Helen Reddy screaming, "You are woman, hear me roar. And I am woman, hear me roar." And so they said, we want to be liberated. We want to be like men. We want to be able to go out and kick it around the same as the guys do and all that. Then they found out they didn't really like it. It wasn't.
It really should not have surprised anybody, because you can go back to, everything goes back to nature. The term alpha male, herd, okay, you take a herd of deer, bison, I don't care. It doesn't matter what it is.
That's right. The turkeys,
Seals, anything.
wild turkeys.
You have an alpha male. That's his group. He protects them. Sexually, he is their provider. Another one comes from the outside, he's going to fight them. Okay? That's nature's way of preserving preserving the species and the survival of the fittest.
Yes.
The idea is that his genetics are going to be the strongest. That's what we're going to pass off to the herd. That's basically any kind of these articles. That's where it basically goes back to. Whether the women now see themselves as the alpha male or pretend alpha male is what you got.
Yeah. But here's the strange part of that is the worm turned.
Yeah.
And they discovered that since they were now free, they could go out and be sexually
Do whatever they want.
liberated. And then something funny happened. Hooking up became the name of the game.
But then they found out it wasn't all that great.
Yeah, and they found out that casual sex, sex on the first date, was demeaning, was unfulfilling, and was gross. So now the conclusion she draws at the end is that the big, rugged, physical protector is what we want.
It goes right back to the herd mentality with the alpha
Full
male in again.
circle. I was fascinated by the article.
You can't change nature.
No.
And, they said, well, we're people. We are still part of that animal kingdom. We still have the same reflexes. We all got fight or flight.
And this article also points out that men and women are different.
They see it different.
Yeah.
That's right.
But there are those
A male
that want
sees
to
it.
deny it.
A male sees it as passing off his genetics. And he considers himself to be the strongest. No matter who it is, they don't honestly sit there and say, I'm going to pass off my genetics. It's part of your nature.
It is.
And a woman says, I need to protect that life within me. I don't need all these guys coming at me from every direction.
I think, maybe this is oversimplifying, but
we should have Dr.
for
Ruth
men,
here.
sex is a physical act. For women, it's an emotional
Correct,
event.
exactly right.
And the two sexes are different.
And there's always going to be the woman that says, no, it's not for me. Because there are always going to be some exception here and exception there, or the ones that are not honest about it.
Yeah.
You got two phases there.
Yeah.
We've with friends and stuff, we've talked about that a lot of times.
Yeah.
A man is more visually stimulated. A woman's very, very rarely visually stimulated.
Exactly.
If a naked man walked into a room, most women would go, oh, God almighty, put some clothes on. If a naked woman, every guy would go, whoa, look at her.
It's funny. Now, maybe I'm weird, but I
all weird.
always got turned on by a dressed woman more than a naked woman. I love to see a woman dressed up in sexy clothes, nice makeup, nice hairdo. Because I'm saying to myself, she's trying to impress me.
See, that goes
It's
back
flattering.
again. You're attracted by a visual stimulant.
Bingo. Yeah.
A man walks in with a tuxedo and she's, yeah, he looks nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ho hum.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to the nature thing again.
It's
In nature, it's a visual stimulant again, because the guy, the big bison, he was always a great, big, nasty-looking thing.
It's going to come in and just take you.
Yep.
Yeah. And the woman, I want to get to know you so we can have an emotional experience.
Yeah,
and you know what? Both sides are fine. That's the way God presented it
It's
to
been
us.
that way for thousands and thousands of years.
And it was his, and it works. And it's perfect. Anyway, I thought it was an interesting
It
article.
was. I saw this. I told Monica, I said, this just goes back way back further than people reading this suspect it does.
By the way, I really wanted to get into suicide. What are your thoughts on suicide?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now that you got to define what suicide, what you're talking about.
Yeah. There's all kinds of different ones.
Yeah, a lot of times suicide is a mental illness problem, and sometimes it's desperation.
Sometimes it's a physical problem where the pain becomes.
That's right, and I have no problem at all with medical science providing assisted suicide for a terminal patient that's suffering with no hope of recovery. That if you define that as suicide, then I'm a supporter of that. I don't support. I don't understand why the other part goes.
I tend to agree that it is a situation that needs to be discussed by the family and the doctor.
Yeah, that's right.
And they let them.
And the individual that's suffering.
Well, yes, he was part of the family. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
our house had a disagreement on that subject.
Yeah. Well, listen. I know what the church teaches, and there's part of me that I believe that's right too. I guess I come down on both sides of it. But what set me off? Folks, I'm not really deep. Some things that set me off that are very simple. But I was reading about this murderer that was put in jail, and he said the warden or the officials or whatever, part of the story was that he had displayed suicidal tendencies. So they have ordered a 24-hour suicide watch on him. This is a murderer. So we're paying a guard 24 around the clock.
Yeah.
We're paying time and a half to sit and watch this guy. Wouldn't it be just simpler to throw a rope in there and say, do whatever you need to do, buddy?
Well, it would be.
Yeah.
But is the guy
capable of making a decision? Yeah.
That's the moral dilemma again.
Yeah.
But I put the situation to it, and she hates it when I do this. I said, all right, you're driving down the road, come on an auto accident. The car's on fire. There's a guy in there trapped, and he's burning to death. You happen to have a gun on you, and he's saying, oh, please shoot me, oh my God, I'm in terrible pain. What do you do?
You know what? In a perfect world, you'd shoot him.
That's right.
But in this world, you'd get tried for manslaughter.
Maybe, yeah.
Laura
yeah,
Healy
exactly.
would be after
yeah, they'd
you.
be after
with
you,
that wicked gun. You never should have had it.
Yep. Well, that too. But I said, with your stance on suicide,
Yeah.
he's asking you to shoot him.
I know it. That happened during the war.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, badly wounded guys said, "Please shoot me."
Shoot me, yeah. I can't
and they
take the
did.
pain.
And they did.
Yep. And she said, well, couldn't do that. And I said, she wouldn't be right. And I said, now you have a horse. The horse breaks his leg. He's in terrible pain. What do? You let him stand there and suffer? No. You got a pet that's suffering. Take him to the vet and they euthanize him.
Yeah.
I said, nothing, that's the humane thing to do. Why is it any different with a human?
Because a human has a soul. And it has a creator. And I don't want to play God in that instance.
That was her answer to it.
Yeah.
She said something about a soul. I said, you sure a cat doesn't have a soul or a dog?
Yeah, I think we've pretty much ruled those critters out.
Well, I don't.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out, hopefully.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Who knows? But I'm very concerned about legalizing physician-assisted supervisor.
Supervisor, assisted suicide.
Yeah, suicides. Because who is going to qualify the physician? Does he have to have special training in deciding who lives and who dies? Because he ultimately is going to do it. Or does just any doctor do it? Well, let me just sign that paper and you can take Dwayne out back and shoot him.
If that's what Dwayne wants to do.
Yeah.
Dwayne can't stand the pain.
Yeah.
Dwayne ain't going home, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Another 3 days, I'm going to be dead, but I don't want to be with us for another 3 days.
I know that we had to unplug my mother.
Mm-hmm.
We unplugged my dad.
Yep.
So.
To a degree, that's the same.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew it was the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wonder about people using that to further other ambitions or something like
that's
that.
That's a totally different scenario.
Yeah. That's another story for another day. Queen Elizabeth passed away.
Yes, she did.
In reading about Queen Elizabeth, it's a pretty interesting story. The longest reigning monarch in British history.
What, 75 years?
70 years.
70 years?
She became queen at 26 and died at 96.
Mm-hmm. 10, Bill.
Good. Good. A recent poll showed her to have a 75% favorability rating in England. Surprised it's not higher, but you get crackpots all over the place. But she was beloved by the people, I think. And she used the following as guiding principles in her life: country, family, traditions, values, ideals, compassion, service, civility, and dignity. You know, that's a checklist of perfect living.
Absolutely. And she was an influencer. I did like, well, of course, they're built into the system, but she didn't meddle too much in the politics of it.
Exactly.
She just played the role.
Well, that's the role of the royalty, is
today,
to hands-off politics.
That's right.
Unless they are asked.
Yep.
And she often signed things, "Your servant."
Mm-hmm.
She really felt that way. And you know, when you think about it, what a marvelous way to go through life.
Of course.
I mean, absolutely perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wonder, I think the big question now becomes, Charles, does he grow with the position? No. I think he's got to.
Yeah, I don't think that. You got to remember, these guys, Charles is king now.
73.
His mother was queen. That doesn't mean king like in the old days when he can say, off with his head. Today, a king has got a subscribed list of activities that he does and how he does it. If he doesn't, they'll get rid of him.
Do you know that I was astounded by the two youngsters that they had, Prince William and
Harry.
The reason that they kind of rebelled against their father and against the Queen was the absolute monopolization of their life by royal duties.
Oh, absolutely.
They had to go to a post office on Monday, and then Monday afternoon to a school, and Monday night to, and it was like
the
that
royal tradition
around the clock.
Everything is
and
dictated to them.
Pose for pictures with everybody. Holy moly!
Yeah, it's not the free reign. I am the king. I can do anything I damn well please. It's the opposite. The commoners got more freedom to go about their life than they
and
do.
All the royals family are expected to participate.
Yep.
But that's what they get paid for.
That's right.
Handsomely.
They're very handsomely.
Yes.
I don't know what that costs the UK. That royalty. I mean, from the whole thing, from top to bottom, but it's got to be a big money, big buck.
500 million a year.
I would guess something like that.
The budget, and she has private holdings into the billions. But from the Bill Crane report, our best wishes to the English people. On reflecting on a life well lived.
That's right. God save the king now.
God save the king is right. I hope he grows with the position.
Yeah, I don't know how much growth he can do. He's pretty well controlled what can or can't do. The only thing you got to watch out, he doesn't do something stupid.
Which he's done in the past.
Say something stupid or make some stupid.
Stupid love letters to her.
Yeah. He already did something stupid with the other one.
Yeah.
I don't know who traded Diane off. Good Lord.
There was a comedian that, and I forget who it was George Burns, or I forget who it was, that said, don't ever write love letters. They found, they sound stupid when read in court.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Europe in the upcoming winter.
It's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be a catastrophe, but it's going to be tough financially.
Now, England appears to have a plan to cap people's costs at say $3,000 or 3,000 pounds or whatever. Where all that money's coming from, who knows? But so some of the smaller countries that, well, not a small country, but France.
Yep.
And not a small company, Germany, but Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. Those are countries that get their gas and their energy from Russia. And the Russians are turning the spout off.
Yep.
They're the people that are going to get really hurt. I think we'll have people dying, both starving to death and freezing to death.
I did see that that was kind of a contradiction of reports. Like Germany said they didn't, for a while they couldn't get the reserves to fill up the reserve. Then I saw in the paper that the reserves are full and they've got tankers setting off, waiting, because they got no more storage space. So I don't think they were so stupid as to not to have the storage space. It's gonna hurt, and I think it's gonna hurt the people, like you said, the small guy.
Yeah.
I think the bigger countries are gonna be all right. And I see Germany's extended the life of their 2 nuclear
Yes.
plants, which was smart.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. And
France has got, I don't know, 20-some nuclear plants still online. So
yeah, and they were talking about phasing a couple of them out. They've canceled that idea
talk
too.
has died.
Yeah. I think Italy might have a problem in Greece.
That's
But they're both
possible.
underfinanced. I mean, they're financial horror shows.
And some of they're going to go back to coal. Some are going to go back to wood.
Reading.
Yep.
Reading is, to me, one of the subjects in school that should be right at the top of the bloody list.
Oh, I agree.
Reading, studying, taking notes during lectures are all important tasks in college. What if you can't read?
Can't do anything.
As perhaps 50% of the high school grads cannot do. 50% of our high school grads are reading at a 4th grade level in some of the cities.
It's pathetic.
What chance do you have in college?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Well, you don't have a chance in any place or anything, because
That's it.
everything's based on communications and the written communication.
And it seems to me, reading, writing, communications,
Yep.
if you don't have those skills, man, you're behind the 8 ball before you get going.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Yeah, that, I was an early reader. I'm sure you were an early reader.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I enjoyed reading. Always
I could read before I went to school.
I do too.
Yeah.
My
My grandfather taught me to read. I just wanted to leave you with one picture of our country. So this guy goes out and buys a Tesla for $112,000, the deluxe model.
Yep, the one I got ordered now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he gets a $7,500 credit from the taxpayers.
Yeah. That,
A rich guy that can afford a car like that, and us poor people are sending him money because he has been an advanced soul that is trying to save the planet.
not only that, he's not using any gas, paying no gas tax, using our roads and our bridges that he's not paying for.
What a scab, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell they're going to do there.
I'm telling you something. There's something wrong here. We should not be subsidizing the rich like that.
No, sir.
But we are. And all of this administration, boy, John Kerry, and although the last time I saw John Kerry, he was getting into his Mercedes-Benz.
Mercedes.
Yes.
Okay, good for him.
But anyway, so folks, we have come to the end of this superb effort on our part.
And our Emmys are coming. We didn't go to them last night.
That's
Sunday
right.
night. They told us that they'd mail them to us.
UPS.
We were too busy.
Watching Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I know.
Well, listen, friends, thank you for tuning in. And again, if there's any subjects you'd like us to broach, well, we can prove ourselves to be totally inept.
Broach it or mutilate them, it's one of the same.
By all means, let us know. And you can call them here at the station and give them your requests, such as they are. But anyway, thank you for watching, and have a good week.
Take care. Bye-bye.